So once you've finished all your metal and plastic, you're going to have something that looks a bit like this, I hope. Right, the next thing we want to do is I'm just going to save it as a JPEG for now. What we got on here? Copy there. And whoops. And what we're going to do with this JPEG is we're just going to make a few final adjustments to the whole thing at once. It's a bit better to adjust it all in one go rather than a little bit at a time. It makes it a bit more even. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do Control L, get the levels up, and I find it's often quite a good plan just to have a little fiddle with the levels at the end. Sometimes just to darken up the blacks, and it can make quite a big difference to your texture. So I'm just generally darkening it all up. I think that would about do. You could also have a fiddle with the colour balance here, and these just allow you to add a little touch of colouring to your texture, but you only want a teeny bit. So just make it one touch of blue. Yeah, what I'm going to do as well, lastly, is I'm going to apply a sharpen filter. I often find that my textures, when I come to this stage, are sort of slightly blurry all around the edges, and the sharpen filter often sorts that out. You'll also find that with a lot of gaming engines that they put a slight blur over your textures just to blend the colours together a bit better. So you do want to slightly over sharpen your textures for when you do get them into game engines, just to kind of try and even that out. So I've applied a sharpen filter there. Got to open up Max. It's going to take an hour, no doubt. Right, so I'm just going to file save again. Right, next thing we want to do is start to create the specular map, and that is the map which makes some bits shiny and some bits not so shiny, and it does that with a black and white alpha map. When we get to the compiling stage of the texture, we use a TGA format file, which has an alpha channel which we can put our specular map into. That's the plan, basically. So I've saved this. Probably best thing to do would be able to I'm just going to drag my background layer here, which has my texturing, down to here, and that creates a second one. And this is just so we don't ruin our original texture. I'm going to do Control Shift U, which will desaturate my image, just make it all totally black and white. See, you've lost the green here. And all I'm really going to do, I am a little lazy with my specular maps, to be honest, but I'm just going to go around and just select all the metals around here. With the actual compiling process as well, you can go in and well, there is a command that allows you to change how shiny things are. So if you end up having too shiny, you can always edit it with RGB values. I think I've selected all the metal there, really. I'm just going to do Control L. Bring this right up this way. Just really start trying to darken it up. I think you want it to be quite that dark. So basically blacks are not shiny and whites are very shiny. So a metal, I think this Glock probably is quite matte, but the areas that would have scratched off would be quite shiny underneath, so the level seems to quite naturally do that, which is good. I'm just going to press OK, and then I'm going to hit Control Shift I to select the inverse, and I'm just going to go Control L again and again to start working on the levels. There we go. Another thing to look into is also contrast, like so. I'm also going to have a play with contrast on this one. It always annoys me that there's no shortcut for the brightness and contrast. I think it is silly. There we go. I'm just going to get a brush here and just lightly paint over these this little bit of writing that I've done. Out them so shiny. Right. Doing what I've just done is taking out quite a lot of the whites. So what I'm going to do is just come into our metals layer and grunge and details. I'm just basically going to drag and drop this. I think I can do it like that. There we go, yeah. So I've dragged and dropped this whole set of textures out. That's the whole folder as well that I'm moving in one go. That's something that you can do in CS2. I'm just going to put snap on under view snap. So it should allow me, it's going to lag up apparently, to sort of get this in the right place. I think that looks right to me. So that's just going to make sure that all our scratches and scribbles are all going to be nice and shiny. Right. I'm just going to chuck these layers together. That was a Control E. Oopsie daisy. Right down. Right, I don't want to do that. What I want to do, file save as. I'm going to save this as a separate JPEG called Glock Specular. Yes, I will replace it. Okay. So now what we want to do is combine these two textures. I've got the original one here, which I've applied the sharpen filter to, and I've got these other two, or the other one, which is this, which is going to be our specular. We can test it on the model. Just open the model up. Oh, yay! Let's try this one. See, I knew that increment save that we did at the start would come in handy. I'm gonna have to just go back a few steps. Open, no. There we go, look, fantastic. And this is why you should use increment save. Right, so I've got material here. Under my diffuse, I have my Glock texture, which is Glock 3. Open. Under the materials rollout, I'm going to put on specular level. Okay. bitmap. It's going to head over to our textures, and I'm going to put on a Glock specular. I'm just going to do a quick render with the specular off, just to show you the difference. So you can see everything's quite matte and bland. I'm just going to put the specular on, and hopefully that should make quite a difference. Yep, you can see it's added quite a lot of shine. The white has become a lot more vibrant. There you go, I think that will do. Gonna cancel that, cancel. Alright, so now we just want to basically combine these two images into a TGA. So I'm going to do a new 1024. Yes, please. Go away for a minute. Get rid of these two, and I'm going to go back to my original texture. I'm going to Control A, Control C, Control B to copy and paste it into here. I'm just going to do a Control E just to collapse those down. And then I want to click on this Channels tab here. This is where we are going to put the alpha. We need to click on this new channel down the bottom here. That's given us a new layer called Alpha 1. And what we just want to do is copy and paste this information over. Just going to merge visible, like so. Control A to select all, Control V, Control C to copy, and then back into my alpha on the second map, and just Control V to paste it in. And that is that finished. Just turn the alpha off there, like so. And that's that finished. What I'm going to do is File, Save As. I've just created a folder called Final, where I put that Max file, which doesn't work, which I'm actually uploading right now. Whoops, I'll have to test it again in a minute. And I'm just going to call this glock.tga. Make sure alpha channels are ticked. Save. I'm just going to put it on 32-bit. Okay. And that is the texturing finished. That was the final little bit. Yeah, that's just, I don't know, have fun.